Florida State, yet again, winning a tough one final score in Gainesville, in the Swamp. Florida State 24, Florida 15 in the Sunshine Showdown. Little alliteration there for us on rivalry weekend. What does it say about Florida State now? Because they played with a backup quarterback. They played in a hostile environment. Now they've got Louisville in the ACC title game with a chance to be undefeated, to be the ACC champs, and to have a chance to take a college football playoff spot. Let me be very clear. If they win the ACC undefeated, we've said it for a long time on this show, they are not getting left out of the dance. So what now for Florida State? Based on this game? Well, we'll talk about it. Florida State fans, make sure you subscribe now to the On3 YouTube channel. We've had a lot of y'all get dialed in here and watch our live show on the hard count on this very channel, so we're glad to have y'all here. If you have not yet subscribed, hey, no time like the present. We'll give you our pick for the ACC title game this upcoming Tuesday on our live show. So again, make sure you're dialed in so you don't miss that. Also follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at JD Piquel. A great way to stay up with everything that we got going on right here. So let's be real here. Was this the toughest opponent that Florida State's going to play this season or has played this season? I don't think so. I think LSU is probably a better football team. Heck, I think Clemson's probably a better football team overall. Louisville's going to be a better test roster-wise probably next week. But based on this spot, I think it's not unfair to say this was the toughest test for Florida State as a team this season. One, rivalry game. How many different teams across the country did we see struggle on rivalry weekend that probably shouldn't have struggled if you were to pair roster versus roster? Washington versus Washington State, Alabama versus Auburn. Florida State has a much better roster, is much further along than Florida. However, it's a rivalry game. Weird things happen. Emotion's a part of this. Also, you were on the road. Hostile environment. One of the toughest places to play in the country, especially at night. And then you add on to that, you got a look-ahead spot. You play in the ACC title game next week, and you've already clinched your spot. You're probably already getting ready for Louisville. You're like, all right, well, we got to kind of get settled in here. We got a big game next weekend. If we win that, we go to the college football playoff. But you had to take care of business here. Also had to do it with a backup quarterback. Your leader of your football team, Jordan Travis, goes down in heartbreaking fashion the week before. Tate Rodemaker, you're in the game. You need to be the guy to lead us to victory. Another layer on top of this, just so, kind of to put the cherry on top, Florida, they were playing with a backup quarterback. Well, you say, JD, they were playing with a backup quarterback. Doesn't that kind of even the playing field a little bit? They don't have their QB1 to go to. Yeah, I think to a degree, but I also think the other side of that, it's very difficult to prep for a guy. You have no idea what he's bringing to the table outside of a little bit of game film. You don't have the same data points to draw from to prepare for a Max Brown than you would for a Graham Mertz who started the entirety of the season for Florida. Also, Max Brown, very different skill set than Graham Mertz. He's a little bit more dynamic, a little bit more dual threat. So that's a whole nother variable you have to account for if you're Florida State. They did a great job, once again, adjusting in game. We said it as soon as Jordan Travis went down last weekend, last Sunday on our Sunday sprint right here on this channel. We said, whenever someone goes down, whenever a key piece of your team goes down, as Jordan Travis is for Florida State, everybody has to carry more. In this game, everyone did carry more. Trey Benson, we said it like, hey, offensive line, running game, we got to have something. All Trey Benson did was go 19 carries, 95 yards, 5 yards a carry, and a nice little 3-touchdown night for him, little hat trick. He was the bell cow. He was what you needed to win in this football game. It was an offensive line, running game driven kind of game. Defense need more from you. Might be a defensive-led operation from here on out. Jared Verse says no problem. 2.5 sacks. The team had 6 sacks as a whole, held Florida to 3 points in the second half. This team is phenomenal at shutting off the water once they kind of get their feet under them, especially like into those last 2 quarters. They're phenomenal, one of the best in the country. Now, the concern for Florida State fans is going to be, well, hey, JD, Tate Rodemaker, he's not Jordan Travis, right? He's 12 for 25, $134, no picks, but no touchdowns. Our strength of our team is Keon Coleman and Johnny Wilson and Jaheim Bell. Where are we at now with Tate Rodemaker? I would just say this, I would be slow to define him because this spot in itself was anything but orthodox. We talked about it going on the road, rivalry game, place was sold out. You have the weight of the world on your shoulders for Tate Rodemaker with the chance to go to the playoff and to, keep this team on track for what they had been working for the entirety of this season while you've been playing in the backup role. This was a high-intensity environment for him stepping in. And while the stat line wasn't tremendous, it was what you needed. It was good enough to get it done. And the thing that impressed me the most had nothing to do with the stat line last night for Tate Rodemaker. Dude took a shot and a half. He's sliding, and 2 Florida defenders just lay the lumber on him, and he is just, I'm like, okay, hey, that's it for Tate Rodemaker. Like, he is done, man. I was watching that game with my brother-in-law, and we were both just like, oh my gosh, that dude took a shot. There's no way he comes back. Brock Glenn's in the game. He might have to be the guy for them going forward now because that looked like a concussion to me. So we see Brock Glenn play a little bit. You see Tate Rodemaker trot back into the huddle, throw the thumbs up to Mike Norvell. Whether he was good or not, he threw the thumbs up to Mike Norvell, came in there and finished the game. That's someone I'll play for, man. I'll just say that. If I'm a teammate of Tate Rodemaker's at Florida State, that shows me a lot. That shows me that's a guy that he's willing to get in there and land on the line for his teammates. And so going forward now, like, I think the key thing for Florida State is, can you adapt? I mean, like, that's the big thing in life, right? Can you adapt to your circumstances? And right now, your circumstance is you're playing with a backup quarterback. Can you adapt the game plan to him? And same thing we said going into this week. Can you adapt your overall game to him, your game style to him if you're Florida State? It's probably going to fall pretty heavily on the run game yet again. It's probably going to fall on Mike Norvell and Alex Atkins getting a really digestible game plan for Tate Rodemaker. Probably going to fall a lot on that wide receiving core, making some contested catches and being able to make something happen after the catch in the intermediate game. Also, again, going to fall on the defense to lead the charge and to kind of be the catalyst now with Jordan Travis not playing quarterback for you. Can you adapt? Because again, the roster itself, even without Jordan Travis, is built to win the ACC. They are built to beat Louisville if they adapt and if they play their style. Because with the roster itself, that's one part, but the culture, yet again, I can't stress this enough. Even when they were down 12-0, it wasn't a good look, wasn't pretty, it's not winning you style points, not passing the eye test, as the committee would say, but again, it's just that it was that feeling of like, it's a scrappy football team. Regardless of the score, regardless of the circumstances, their heart rate stays pretty steady, it seems. And that was exactly the way that they responded. Again, defense gave it 3 points in the second half. Offense responded. Run game got going. And ended up winning the game in a decisive fashion. So now going for Florida State, I think that the trust and the confidence internally is what's going to be able to maximize what they have going forward on this roster. And for Tate Rodemaker, you don't got to be Jordan Travis. But I do think there has to be a conscious effort from a game plan perspective and from a style standpoint for Florida State to help him and to bring him along. So Florida State getting it done. It's a play-in game next week. If you win, you're in. It comes down to a one-game season. As they've taken it every single week, go 1-0. Hey, you go 1-0 this week against Louisville, you're in. So we'll give you our pick for that one this upcoming Tuesday. We'll give you our prediction for that game as well as the rest of the conference championship matchups. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. Just a little note here. We're also on podcasts. So Apple, Spotify, you type in The Hard Count with J.D. Piquel, you will find us here. Full hour-long episodes. And again, we are live Tuesday, 11 a.m. Eastern, with our predictions. Also live shows on Wednesday and Thursday on this channel, 11 a.m. Eastern. Hey, we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. We are going to keep this party rolling. And we will see y'all next time. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.